videos with no problem. All right.
All right, that's perfect.
Okay, so um, here's another topic. What is change? Explain change. What is change?
Well, change is not doing the 360. Change is doing a 180. Change is going in the opposite direction. Change is getting outside of your comfort zone. Change is changing your environment, people, places, and things. You can't expect to change if you don't change. First of all, if you don't change your mindset, you're not going to change. And if you don't change your environment, you're not going to change. So there's certain things that you got to apply. You're not going to change if you don't apply new strategies. If you don't engage a different process, you're not going to change, bro. You got to change. And if you don't change, you're going to get the same results. That's insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting different results. Change is, being different, being different and going in the total opposite direction. That's change right there. And change is coming.
Why
Change
why
is
do why do so many people fear change?
Oh, because they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. Fear. Listen to the word fear is false evidence appearing real. People don't
Mm.
want to change because of fear. And fear is false evidence appearing real. You know, and if you don't change, then it's a big issue because life is constantly changing around us. Our bodies constantly change. People constantly change. We lose people. Sometimes we have babies, and that's change. So you're gonna deal with change whether you like it or not. But you can't let a change happen and then you don't adapt to that change. You can't apply a principle that you use when you was 15 years old, when you 30 years old. You got to change as you go along. How I'm going to be the same mindset that I had when I didn't know no better and I suffered the consequences of that action. So how I'm going to repeat the same action when I'm 10 years older now? And that's why it caused people difficulty to change.
How did your spiritual help you make that transition to make that change?
Oh, that was everything. My spiritual was everything for me because that gave me a third eye. That the scriptures, man, the scriptures is amazing because the Bible talks about the word being a living word. It talks about being rivers of living water. And your spirit cannot get quickened. Your spirit cannot be awake if you're not feeding it the word. So, that's what when I begin to look at the scriptures like food, because look, in order for you to be healthy physically, you gotta eat your eggs, you gotta eat your protein, your carbohydrates, you gotta drink your water, you gotta stay away from sugars, right? That's for your physical. But now when it comes to your spiritual and your mental, you gotta do other things. You gotta connect to God, you gotta connect to your higher power. You gotta put the habit of prayer, right? You gotta deny yourself. You gotta fast. These are things in the process that help me in changing. And you gotta study the word and you gotta apply it. And what does the word tells us? There's a passage in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10:25, that the author of that passage is saying for the saints at that area not to forsake the gathering, not to forsake going to church. So that was huge for me because, when you in church, you in an environment with other believers that are headed in your direction, that are also seeking God, that are worshiping, and you involved in that community now, and being in that community, you got people that have your back now. Now you're not wishing that somebody does what they're supposed to do. It's a good chance that if you got somebody that's standing on God's word and you guys in agreement, that they're gonna hold you down. And that's why I have been experienced now for over 20 years. Every environment, every place I go to, like when I used to get transferred from one prison to the next, because after I started following the scriptures, right, I got transferred 3 times, right? And I didn't have issues in none of the prisons I went to because I immediately connected with the chaplain, with religious services. I started going to the services during the week, to the Bible studies. I started getting familiar with the um, people that came in and gave Bible studies with the volunteers, and I began to build relationships with them. And forget about it. It was like it was a big connection for me. It was everything right there.
Okay. We're gonna move on to another topic. All right.
All right.
All right. Give me a second. Hold on. Give me a second. Da, 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 da. Give me a second. Okay. Okay. You see, I got everything lined up. So every
Everything.
topic I could, you know what I'm saying? I could lock in
Yeah.
on a specific topic, you know? Give me a second. Let me,
The journey to self-discovery.
yeah. Let's talk about, hold on. Damn, I keep putting it right there. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about the, let's talk about the journey to self discovery. What was your journey like?
To self-discovery?
Yeah. Well, let's
Oh,
talk about the journey to self discovery because I know for me when I was incarcerated, it was like I went on this journey to find out basically who I was, what I was about, discover the really what who what I'm saying, some of the things that I stood for and everything like that because I had became so disconnected from the person that I used to be to the person that brought me to prison that I was just trying to find some answers.
yeah. Well, you know what? Look, the journey for self-discovery for me was that I came to the realization and I came to the discovery that I was not a good person. I was not a good person, bro. You try to tell yourself because you do certain things that you justify your actions. And I try to tell myself that because I was providing for my family, I told myself that because I was putting food on the table, because I will give, money to bums in the street, that it was okay. I said, no, I can make money selling drugs because look, I'm giving this guy $20. Look, I helped this person pay their rent. Or look, I'm putting food on the table. And that's a false narrative, bro. The reality was that I was selfish. I had to discover that fact right there. I was a selfish human being. I was out of control. I didn't care about anybody but myself, and I wanted what was mine, and I wanted what was yours. That's covetousness. You see what I'm saying? Envy. All those things, bro. And I had to come to that realization, bro. And that was where I started my journey to self-discovery. I said, look, you're not a good person, bro. People are hurt. People lost their life. People lost their life of being around you. What you was doing was not good. So I had to come to that realization.
So
And
so
then
so basically one of the things that we have to do on that journey to self-discovery is to be honest with ourselves.
you gotta be honest with yourself. You gotta be honest with yourself. Exactly. You gotta be honesty because you can't lie to yourself. You could, when we in prison, right? Everybody got the same clothes. Everybody got the same amount of money to spend. Everybody eats the same food, and you could basically turn into whatever you want to be. You could tell anybody that you was a kingpin, when you were just a crackhead. You could tell anybody that you was, when you was this, when you was that, that you was a boss when you was a worker, you know. But look, when you look in the mirror, you're gonna tell that to yourself. Even though there's people that do that, they do tell themselves, and they lie to themselves. But fortunately, I was able to look at myself in the mirror and tell me, look, that was not right. You not right, and you need to be fixed. And that's what the word tells us. That's why the Bible is like a mirror. It's a mirror that's looking right back at you, telling you about yourself. And it's telling us in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 9, it says that the heart is wicked above all things. So I said, yes, man, that's so true. Nothing, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So every other word was a curse word for me. So that's because my heart wasn't in the right place. The minute that my heart got healed, right, I was able to be honest with myself and check my own self. And then I started the process of constantly self talking to myself. I had to self-talk to myself and say, no, you're not right. Because people think that when you talk to yourself, you're crazy. No, that's something that's positive. That's something that's healthy. Look, if you got time to go to the yard and walk and you by yourself, solitude, bro, take that time out and do a self-assessment within yourself and talk to yourself and see what worked and what didn't work and envision where you want to go, how you want to be. And then there's something that's called reverse engineering, where you come back from the future of what you want to do, what you want to be, what you want to have. You got to come back to your present, and then you got to start working your way towards that goal. You see what I'm saying? That's very key right there. And you don't, like I said, you don't have to wait till they let you out to start that process. You got to start that process where you at. You see, because that's what I looked at it. I started looking at the prison as a university. The compound for me became campus, except that I was a campus of men. There was no women in my campus. I was in a military school of men. They gave me a library, they gave me a church, they gave me a gym, and they gave me a bed and they put food on the table. So basically, everything was taken care of for me. All I had to do now was work on myself.